Hello there. Welcome back to grade 10 economics. In this video, we are still working at a question paper of November 2023, and we are going to look at question 3 according to this video that is on economic pursuits. So, we have our question, that is our question 3, and our question reads, answer the following questions. I want the first part of the question, that is 3.1.1, it reads, name two South African labor unions. Our question is got 2 parts. So we are supposed to just to name two South African labor unions, but we know that a labor union is an organized association of workers formed to protect and further their interests and rights. So we have got an organized association of workers that is formed to protect and further the interests and rights of the workers is called a labor union. So this organization represents the collective interest of workers in negotiations with employers. So basically, that's what we have, and we are having a labor union. So the organizations that we are going to try to list there should be within the context of this explanation. Remember, we've got COSATU as an example of a labor union. So those are some of the labor unions that we have. So we go to the other section to see what is the list that we have in terms of labor unions of South Africa. And we have got NUM, which is Congress and Federation of Trade, is a national association, the examples of trade unions that we have in South Africa. So this is the first question that we have, but the question is, I only requires you to list it two, so you can just pick two that are familiar with you. So we go to the next part of the question, saying, why is a rapidly growing population a challenge for developing nations? So obviously, when we have a population that is rapidly growing, it automatically means that we are going to have more people that are going to be in that economy. And obviously, remember, we have got limited resources in the economy. The resources that are they are going to be shared with more people. So we are going to have a problem of shortage of resources. That is the challenge that is the country is going to face. So we go to the other section, try to see that explanation. 3.1.2, it reads a rapidly growing population places strain on the limited resources of developing nations, which can lead to shortages and high prices, which is exactly what we have. So remember, shortages are associated with higher prices. Whenever we have a commodity or a product that is with shortage in the market, the price of that product is going to go up. So exactly as we have. So we go to the next part of the question, which is say, start the graph below and answer the questions that follow. So you are given a graph that we have here of real GDP growth. We know that real GDP basically we are talking about the value added created through the production of goods and services in a country in a certain period. So obviously, we have some bars that we have there that are representing the growth of real GDP. So our first question beneath that is saying identify the quarter with the highest real GDP growth. So we can just try to identify which one is with the highest. So the highest bar that we are having there in terms of real GDP growth, we are having it in this bar. So basically, it means we have got quarter 3, 2020. So is the correct response that we have there. And on 3.2.2, it reads which economic indicator is used to measure economic growth. But when you're talking about an economic indicator, this is a piece of economic data, usually of macroeconomic scale. So when you've got something that is representing economic data, that is of a macroeconomic scale, we call it an economic indicator. So the question is saying which economic indicator is used to measure economic growth. Obviously, it's the economic indicator that we are using there is a real GDP. So real GDP becomes the economic indicator. So going to our answer section, you see that we have a real GDP as our indicator. Then we go to the next question. It reads briefly describe the term gross domestic product, but we know that gross domestic product explains the total monetary value of the goods and services that are being produced within the country, that is inside the country, within the country's boundaries, and that is a domestic. So this is the explanation that we have. So we go to try to see in terms of the explanation that we have, which says it measures the value of offering of goods and services that are produced within the borders of the country in a given period of time, normally within a year. So the key point that we have there is that it is measured within a period of 1 year, usually it's 1 year, and then it is produced within the borders of the country. That's very important to take note, which differentiates it from a post-national product, whereby we're saying national products, it can be the not how much value of goods that are produced by the locals that are producing outside the country, but the gross domestic product, we confine ourselves to those that are being produced inside the country. So this is what we have on 3.2.3. Then we move on to the next one, which is 3.2.4. So on 3.2.4, it reads, why do injections lead to an increase in economic activity? So obviously, we want to understand what we mean by injections in the economy. But basically, injections is an addition or introduction of income to the circular flow of an economy. Therefore, injections increase the flow of income in an economy. So it's an addition that is taking place when we put injections of income in the circular flow. So the question is saying which economic, the question is saying uh, why do injections lead to an increase in economic activity? So when we have got more income that is being injected in the circular flow, it also means the people that are there, or the customers that are there in that economy are going to hold more money, as their income is going to increase. And when they hold more money, they are going to demand more products and services. So when they demand more products and services, the business that are operating in that economy are going to earn more revenue, and then they widen their profit margins. So when they widen their profit margins, they are going to obviously reinvest their profits and expand their production capacities. So with expanding their production capacities, we're going to see an increase in economic activity. Economic activity, basically, we are talking about the rate at which goods and services are being produced in our economy. So obviously, that's what we have. So that's the relation that we have between injections and economic activity. So we go to the explanation that we are given on 3.2.4. We say injections cause an increase in economic activity by increasing demand, making the business earn more profits, which they reinvest to expand their production capacities. That is exactly as we are trying to explain. When we go to the next part of the question, 3.2.5 is what is the cause of the low income growth rate in South Africa. So the cause of that is that there has been a lack of clarity and consistency in economic policies, which has created uncertainty for investors and businesses. Remember, the question is saying what is the cause of low economic activity? It's because of this is coming as a cause, as we are having lack of clarity and consistency in economic policies. Obviously, this is going to scare away investors, and when it scares away investors, we are going to have less businesses being opened in the domestic economy, and obviously the production of goods and services also is going to be there at a lower rate. So obviously, economic activity is going to be lowered. So this is the first point that we have. The second point is saying South Africa's electricity supply constraints. So remember, the electricity, the power generation, if it is affected, it's also going to affect production capacities, production in terms of the issue of electricity. Remember, all the industries use electricity as their source of power. So they are going to be obviously negatively affected in terms of their production. So this is what we have on the second point. Then we try to go to the next question data below. The other question that follow, we are given a code for 2022. So we are given the total population that we have there. So for economically active is 16.8 million. And then under the labor force, we've got employed, which is 15.9 million, and unemployed, which is 7.8 million. Then under not economically active, we have got 3.4 million. We have got 3.4 million for discouraged work seekers, and then for the other NEA, we have got 13.4 million. So those are the information that we are having there. The first part of the business, give one example of people who are economically inactive. But we know that people who are economically inactive are the people that are not willing and able to work. So obviously, these are not part of the labor force. So examples that we can have there. Obviously, we are going to talk about the retired population is also part of the economically inactive. So we go to the other section, try to see which groups can we include under that. We have children under the age of 16, they are economically inactive, and then the elder that is retired, and then we also have the homemakers, which are the housewives, also are part of the groups of economically inactive. So we go to the next question and try to see what we have. And then the next question is saying, what does the population between the ages of 50 and 64 represent? Obviously, this is now the economically active population, obviously. So we go to the next part of the question, which is saying, what briefly describes the term involuntary migration. So this obviously, we know that when something is involuntary, it's something that is done without will. So obviously, it's going to be a movement that is going to be forced. It's a movement of people in the country that is forced. So we are having an involuntary migration. So the brief description that we have in terms of involuntary migration, we can just try to see it here. is the movement of individuals or groups of people who are compelled to leave their homes or countries against their will. So that's where the essence is, that there is this activity is happening against their will. So this is the explanation that we have on 3.3.3. Can we go to the next one, 3.3.4, which reads, why is the rapid rate of urban migration a problem for the government? So a rapid rate of urban migration, it means that we are going to have more people that are moving into the urban areas. So why is it a problem for the government? Obviously, we are going to notice that in those urban areas, we are going to notice there will be overcrowding, and that overcrowding obviously is going to be a problem so that those people can be accommodated. Remember also, in terms of the resources, or in terms of the demands of infrastructural development around the area that they are staying, it's also going to be more demanding, which means the government also has to construct those infrastructures, which is going to be expensive for the government again. So those are some of the problems that we can raise within that context. So we go to the explanations that we're having there. We see that the first one is saying migration leads to densely populated informal settlements. So we're going to see informal settlements cropping up in the urban areas because of limited accommodations that we have in those urban areas. And obviously, second point is saying slums necessitating a massive demand for housing and infrastructure such as land, roads, health clinics. So when we're talking about slums, this is a highly populated urban area due to a movement that is transferring of a movement into the urban areas. So basically, a slum, we are saying, is a highly populated urban area. So the point is saying slums necessitating a massive demand for housing and infrastructure, such as land, roads, health clinics. So obviously, this is a responsibility of the government to be able to construct this infrastructure in the form of land, roads, and health clinics, which is going to be a problem again for the government. Then last point is saying uncontrolled migration leads to a service delivery problems where the demand for electricity, water supply, and other services put a lot of pressure on the government. Obviously, it's a responsibility of the government again to be able to see that all the people that are there in that urban area are provided with electricity, water supply, and other services. But since they are now overcrowded and the resources are few, it means also it's going to be a problem, which is going to be a burden on the government now. So this also becomes a constraint. So we have 3 points that are supporting our question of 3.3.4. But we go back to the question and see that we have our question is 3.3.4. And obviously, this question is looking for 1 point because it was 2 marks. So we go to the next question, 3.3.5, calculate the unemployment rate for the fourth quarter. So the unemployment rate for the fourth quarter, this is the information for the fourth quarter that we are given. And obviously, we are supposed to come with a formula for calculating unemployment rate. So the formula that we are going to use, we are going to say the unemployed over the total labor force. The unemployed, we've got 7.8 million. So we can just say it is equal to the formula that we are going to say is unemployed. And then we say over labor force. And if you go back there, you see that the unemployed, we have 7.8 million. So we can just put our 7.8 and then we say over our labor force. You see that our labor force given here is 23.7 million, which is 15.9 million plus 7.8 million, you get your 23.7 million. So the denominator is 23.7 million. 23.7, then you multiply by 100 over 1. So let's try to calculate that one by saying 7.8 divided by 23.7. And then you multiply by 100 over 1. And then the answer that you are going to get is going to be 2.91139. So obviously, we are going to round it off to 1 decimal place, whereby we are going to check our 1 is not going to change our 9. It is going to be 32.9%. So basically, we are saying your answer is 32.9%. So this is your final answer on the unemployment. So the unemployment rate is 32.9%. So this is the calculation that we have. And then we go to the next part of the question, differentiate between economic growth and economic development. But we know that the economic growth is a measurement of the quantity of goods and services that are being produced and their value now. We compare from one period to the other. When it's increasing, we say there's economic growth. Then our economic development, we are looking at the standard of living of the people in that economy. So basically, we are looking at the quality of life, and we are saying the emphasis on economic growth is on the production of goods and services, whereby on economic development we are looking at the life of the people that are there in the country. So that becomes the key difference that we have between the two. So we go to the other section, we see that we have got an explanation in terms of economic growth and economic development, which is pointing out the difference that is there between the two. First point is saying under economic growth, it is the increase in the production of goods and services of a country within a given period of time. And second point, it is measured by the real GDP from one year to the other to another. Then next point, it is concerned with goods and services. Then on economic development, first point, it is improvement in the standard of living of the entire population. So standard of living is there as the key term that we have there. Then beneath that, we've got it is concerned with the people and human development. Very important. We are seeing that under economic development, it is concerned with people. Under economic growth, it is concerned with goods and services. So it becomes a very important analysis that we are seeing there. That is pointing out the difference. Then on economic growth, again, on the first point is production of goods and services, production of goods and services. Very important to take note. So those two are pointing out the differences that we have. Then we move on to the last part of the question, which is now 3.5, which is saying how do immigration figures impact local wages? Obviously, the immigration that we are talking about is the movement of foreigners into our country. That is the immigration. So when we have the foreigners coming into our country, what is going to happen on the local wages now is the question. So when they come, when the foreigners come as workers, they are going to increase the supply of labor. Remember, the supply of labor is determined from the point of view of the workers. So we've got more workers that are willing and able to work, we say we have got more supply. So we are saying when they come, it means they are going to integrate the domestic workers that are there, and we're going to have more workers that are going to look for the jobs, and we're going to have more supply of labor. And we have, remember, when we have excess supply of something, it obviously means that the price is going to go down. So the price in the form of wages of labor, the price of labor are wages and salaries. So it means their price their wages are also going to go down. This is just the essence of the analysis of the forces of demand and supply. So in this case, we are looking at the forces of demand and supply of labor, which is basically defined within the context of this graph. When we are saying we are having our demand of labor to the side, that is it will decrease from maybe WE to this new equilibrium point, which is W1, which is not going to be the wage rate. So this is exactly what we are saying. You're going to notice a decrease in the wage rate. So this is exactly what we have in terms of immigration effects on local wages. So let's go and see what explanation we have according to our answer section. Remember, question has got 8 marks, so it requires about 4 points. So the first point is saying, due to the increased supply of labor force, there will be a decrease in wage rate. This is exactly the analysis that we've just pointed out there. And the second point is saying some immigrants who accept a job below the minimum wage rate as they are coming from a country which is economically depressed. Obviously, that is a reality. Those foreigners that will be coming in the local economy, they are coming from a country that is has got a high unemployment rate. So when they come here, even if they're offered a low wage, they will accept it. So that's why the point is saying they are coming from a country which is economically depressed, so they accept even a lower wage that is below the minimum wage. So this is the point that we. The next point, if employers pay the minimum wage, it normally leads to fewer people being employed. So obviously, the minimum wage will be above the wage that these immigrants are accepting, and it's going to be a higher cost of production for the business that are there. Obviously, they will accommodate less workers. That is very simple. Then we have a last point. There would be more people offering their services to be employed, thereby increasing supply of labor. So these are the points that we have that are supporting the essence that the issue of immigration affects the level of wages that are being paid in the country. And obviously, they're going to cause a reduction in the wage rate. So this is what we have, guys, according to this video. Hopefully the video was helpful. Let's not forget to subscribe and share. Let's share the link to our colleagues who are doing grade 10 economics. More typical examination questions are going to be uploaded on this channel. Let's stay tuned. Let's get notified. That's what this video I'm out. Let's meet again in the next video.